Most people go out on a first date and nothing happens. No second date, no phone call, just ghosted. But there are those of us that can get that second date every time. It doesn't matter if we meet you on Tinder, at the grocery store, at work, at school, at church. It does not matter. Are they just more charismatic? No. Are they just better looking? No, you don't have to be a Hollywood actor to have more and better dates. Are they dating desperate? Absolutely not. Keep watching and find out the ridiculously simple secret to winning your first date and ensuring that there'll be a second date and beyond. Hi everybody, I'm Nathaniel Carter for living1percent.com. Let's start by talking about what you're doing wrong on first dates. This might surprise you, but going on a coffee date with somebody isn't a mistake. Is it unique? No, but it's safe. And that's a good thing. If you need to bail on the date because it's going poorly, it's easy to do on a coffee date. No harm, no foul. What you aren't doing on a coffee date is going into it with a plan. No, I'm not talking about how am I going to get this girl to sleep with me. I'm talking about creating a structure for your date. How long is this date going to be? What are we going to talk about? Are there topics that are off limits? How personal am I going to get? Should I tell my date I've been to jail? Should I talk about my ex-wives? When should the date end? The next mistake you're probably making is getting into contentious topics too early. It's a first date. You're trying to learn the basics of each other. If there's a connection, there will be plenty of time to talk about your political differences, your struggles with PTSD, the ex that was lazy and cheated on you, what you think about religion, your deadbeat uncle in jail, etc., etc. Keep the conversation light. The topic's positive. Emphasize your strengths. And give yourselves the opportunity to flirt and show attraction. The third mistake that I constantly see is not hitting the sweet spot. If I talk too much, I sound self-centered. If I talk too little, I sound aloof and disengaged. If I flirt too hard, I look desperate. If I don't pick up on the attraction clues, then I look incompetent. Hitting the sweet spot's important, but it's not the number one key thing that will get you that second date. Keep watching. I'll let you know the most important hack you can use to win the first date. Let's fix these common mistakes. First, the plan. I recommend an hour for a coffee date. Long enough to have a decent conversation without running into the problem of running out of things to say. Running out of things to talk about is a major barrier towards not getting a second date. See my discussion on hitting the sweet spot. Keep the conversation light and fun. Your first date comes as the result of a previous conversation. Build on that conversation. Talk about your interests. Talk about the things that ignited the initial attraction in the first place. Add a piece to yourself to what your date already knows. Being funny is encouraged, but don't go overboard. You don't want to be offensive. A first date is not Def Comedy Jam. Avoid politics and social issues. You'll have plenty of time to explore this aspect of yourselves as your relationship develops. The main thing you're trying to do is not put up red flags that will create a barrier towards you getting a second date. The sweet spot will take a little experience and experimenting. Having a plan and a structure for your date will help you find that moderation. In terms of conversation, ask questions, especially open-ended questions. Get your date talking more than you are. It's like learning how to do a good interview. The interviewer only has to say a few words in order to get the person that he's interviewing to talk for 15 or 20 minutes. Engage your active listening. You need to show you're focused. Your first date will fail if your date thinks you're not interested, or you're watching other things, or even worse if you're checking out another person. Again, a good structure to your date will help keep you focused. If you schedule your date for an hour, stick to it, even if it's going well. And it's on this point that we come to our super hack for first dates that will help you win and get that second date. Your first date's gone for about an hour and it's going pretty well. Should you keep going? No, stop. End your date. You'll be ending your date on a positive, which works in your favor. If you overtalk your date, it'll make it harder to pick up fresh later. It's also a higher risk that you'll raise a red flag that will prevent you from getting that second date. Now leverage that positivity and give your date a reason to come and meet with you again. End your date with an open loop. For instance, I would say something like, I'm having a really great time, but I've got an appointment or a meeting or work that I have to get back to. Continue with the beginnings of an open-ended story. I'd like to tell you what happened to me when I was in New York City a few weeks ago. Do not tell the story. Two things are working in your favor. You have both had a positive date. Now you've put a question in your date's mind. What happened in New York? I want to hear this story. The other stories have been interesting, but I want to hear this one, especially since you're not telling this story on this date. The open-ended story also provides an easy lead when you call up your date to schedule the next date. Try this out on your next date and I guarantee that you're going to get a second one. Remember, relationships are built on connections. By leaving something on the table on our first date, we make it easier to build on the previous conversations that we've had the next time that we see each other. Dating is already difficult. Don't make it harder than it needs to be. Pique your date's curiosity. They won't be able to resist another date with you. Leave a comment below and let me know what you think. Check out the channel for more great videos on how to take your life to the next level. There's even more resources at www.living1percent.com and check out our social media pages for regular updates. Don't forget to smash that like and subscribe button. For Living 1%, I'm Nathaniel Carter. Thanks for watching.